On the evening of December 18, 1925, the citizens of Chicago, and the entire continent of Amexem, viewed a glorious event in the sky. The symbol of Islam hung low in the western sky last night at sunset. The moon and the planet Venus were as in conjunction, with Venus following the horns of the crescent. The figure of the crescent and the star is one of the most beautiful sights of the heavens, and it's rather rare. It was much admired ages before Muhammad adopted it as his symbol. This conjunction was a bright one, as Venus neared the Earth. From the astronomer's viewpoint, the event furnished an excellent chance to compare the brilliancy of the Earth's two nearest celestial neighbors. The moon is our satellite, while Venus is the Earth's twin world. The moon is a dead and frozen little globe, while Venus pulses with life like the Earth. The Moors of Chicago interpreted this celestial event as a sign from Allah, that the religion of Islam would arise in the West with the arrival of the Asiatic Moor that would signify the beginnings of the great Asiatic Moorish nation. The Iwasay Bunko Library has in its possession a document entitled Hayur Yukashu, Tales of Castaways, which was printed during the late Edo period, 1603 to 1868. The document recounts the stories of Japanese sailors who find themselves in foreign lands after becoming lost at sea, as well as castaway foreigners washed ashore on the beaches of Japan. To the Japanese people, who at the time had been living in a prolonged period of national isolation, these exotic tales must have seemed very fantastic. Among these stories is the account of a wrecked ship with a very mysterious appearance. According to the document, this vessel washed ashore at Hirashigahama in Hitachi no Kuni, present-day Ibaraki Prefecture. The body of the ship, described as 3.3 meters tall and 5.4 meters wide, and had been built from red sandalwood and iron and was fitted with windows of glass or crystal. The mysterious characters of an unknown alphabet were found inscribed inside the vessel. Aboard the drifting vessel was a finely dressed young woman with a pale face and red eyebrows and hair. She was estimated to be between 18 and 20 years old. Because she spoke an unfamiliar tongue, those that encountered her were unable to determine from whence she came. In her arms she clutched a plain wooden box that appeared to be of great value to her, as she would allow nobody to approach it. The cycle for the Bible was the moon cycle, and that cycle is ending. History teaches us that the Canaanite deity Yah was once personified through the crescent moon, worshipped in humanoid form as referenced in your Torah and Egyptian Medu Neter hieroglyphics. By analyzing the etymological roots of the Hebrew language, we then discover the very word Yah, the personal name of the Semitic deity Yehovah by modern definitive, is closely associated with the crescent moon and was later joined in form with Way. Yah, of course, being the first half of the term Yahweh, Yehovah YHWH, the unpronounceable name. E. A. Wallace Budge, the world's most renowned Egyptologist, defined the Egyptian glyph Yah, as a moon deity in his Egyptian hieroglyphic dictionary and equated it directly to the Hebraic word Uraic. The oldest Egyptian deity Osiris, Asar, is personified with the moon as Asar Ahu, the Phoenician Semitic Hyksos, eventually to be known as the Hebrew, meaning to cross, revered as YHWH after their expulsion, biblical exodus, from Egypt by the Nubian 18th dynasty, after ruling it for hundreds of years. Our ancestors always knew the importance of the Most High Ra, putting our father Re as the head or center of the Neteru guardians. The sun's current main sequence age, determined using computer models of stellar evolution and nucleocosmochronology, is thought to be about 4.57 billion years. The sun is about halfway through its main sequence evolution, during which nuclear fusion reactions in its core fuse hydrogen into helium. Each second, more than 4 million tons of matter are converted into energy within the sun's core, producing neutrinos and solar radiation. At this rate, the sun will have so far converted around 100 Earth masses of matter into energy. The sun will spend a total of approximately 10 billion years as a main sequence star. The sun does not have enough mass to explode as a supernova. Instead, in 4 to 5 billion years, it will enter a red giant phase, its outer layers expanding as the hydrogen fuel in the core is consumed and the core contracts and heats up. Helium fusion will begin when the core temperature reaches around 100 mK, and will produce carbon and oxygen, entering the asymptotic giant branch of a planetary nebula phase in about 7.8 billion years, during which instabilities in interior temperature lead the surface of the sun to shed mass. While it is likely that the expansion of the outer layers of the sun will reach the current position of Earth's orbit, recent research suggests that mass lost from the sun earlier in its red giant phase will cause the Earth's orbit to move further out, preventing it from being engulfed. However, Earth's water will be boiled away and most of its atmosphere will escape into space. The increase in solar temperatures over this period is sufficient that by about 500 to 700 million years into the future, the surface of the Earth will become too hot for the survival of life as we know it. By that time, of course, the Nagaru would have evolved beyond the need to tie ourselves to the planet. We have a glorious future of creative, spiritual, mental, and technological advancement. We will one day create our own version of Nibiru, sailing the inky blackness like the Menjet of Ra, visiting and populating uncountable worlds of varying atmospheres and healing civilizations that have fallen from Ma'at, the straight way. Many of our kind forget there is nothing outside the mind. The information we allow inside ourselves will manifest and infest our future. As we look around the West, the most culturally influential of the hemispheres in this day and time, we soon realize where so-called black culture is leading our people, straight to prison, poverty, disease and hopelessness. Our culture, historically, has always been science, study of the natural world and reverence of our ancestors, called animism today. Without knowing the laws of nature there is no evolution, involution or revolution. There is no growth in knowledge or the wisdom of how to use it, there is no Tahuti, thought. Today's scientists are just catching up to our Tamaraean ancestors with an understanding of the subatomic and omniversal realities. Without it there would be no computer, phone or tablet device to watch this very video, validating animism as the only true culture or straight way for Nagaru in this day and time. As our minds grow, our actions and reactions change our future prospects. As we go from an understanding to an overstanding of cause and effect, we realize the singular importance of creativity, doing for self. Our ancestors had no other race to turn to for inspiration, spirituality or leadership. They lived in their own image and likeness, creating from scratch. They didn't expect the mountain to come to Muhammad. They took the long arduous journey and climbed the highest heights. What they discovered, invented, built and formulated has been used and exploited by every culture, religion, scientific discipline and theorist the world over, who then distort, edit and twist our truths into their own image and likeness and present it to us as original thought, but as others' cultural and religious opinions dissipate from our minds their very physical existence will be removed from our presence also. The less we allow the low 6 ether ghost lifestyle into our daily routines the faster we move through this projected third dimensional delusion. We will start to negate the pendulum swing of cause and effect. We will eventually realize that our internal creativity leads to external creation, invention, authorship, art and archaeology, that all forms of creation are a cause, a form of giving as opposed to taking. As you give so shall you receive, as you sow so shall you reap, so it has been within the best interests of other races to steer our beliefs, to steer our culture, to control our perception of reality thus controlling God's creation or ability to create. We created this mess we call black culture today, and we will create a swift solution through action-based reasoning. If your belief system does not lead to action, only hopes, wishes, prayers and waiting, it's time to move on. Move being the operative word. Movement, action and creation by way of correct thought is what conquers this third dimensional delusion in its entirety. The sludge of this lower plane is dispelled as a hot knife through butter. Remember, time flies when you're having fun. Before you start any task, take note of the time. If you fully engross yourself in the creative process there won't be enough time in the day, but if we engage in folly however, there won't be enough time to catch up. Remember, in the West they call the human family a race, and we Nagaru are being lapped. Yes, we are the fastest sprinters. Yes, we have the best long-distance athletes. Yes, we've mastered what's called the plastic sciences, movement and dance, but they have planes, trains and automobiles. Jesus has taken 2,000 years plus to get back from wherever he's at. The Chinese put self and kind first, so today they are a legitimate contender to the West economically and culturally and in record time. India is on the rise while Europe and Russia have dissolved into feuding states. The war in Ukraine, Brexit, overspending and borrowing, more prime ministers in a single term than has been recorded throughout British history. The harlot that rode the beast is dead and in her place is her eldest son, King Charles III. Soon the heads of that beast will turn and devour her. Meanwhile our ancient USA, Usir, Osiris, Tamari, today called Egypt, is ruled and infested by Berber cockroaches claiming our heritage, while waving Islamic retardation as a valid culture in our faces, without protest from us the original Tamaraean. Somalia at war, Sudan at war, yet sending their gold to Russia and the Arab states for arms and medical supplies. Whole towns across many African states have been turned into straight-up mines for cobalt, lithium, manganese, nickel, graphite and many other toxic metals and substances that cause genetic defects throughout the population. African states that provide raw materials to the rest of the world, including oil, precious metals and stones barely receive 5% its worth, and those who do the actual mining receive only death and disease. Look at what those slimy Arabs were able to achieve with control over just their oil. Africa has been kept poor so that the rest of the world can grow rich. Economically poor, intellectually poor, spiritually poor, culturally poor, dietarily poor, morally poor, just poor, in every sense of the word throughout the diaspora. Again, We have been lapped and only a few leaders are willing to pick up the pace, all while facing stern opposition from other African puppet politicians lining their pockets for pennies on the dollar. The world has embraced a competitive, invasive spirit. The bull of Wall Street, where Nagaru were once sold as stock, has become a mascot of world affection. But what will become of a world full of charging bulls when the matador stays sleeping? The key to control is thought. Tahuti, and Baba Yaa-Nun has given us an endless stream of thought, passing the riverbanks of Islam, Judaism, Christianity, Sumer and our Native American heritage, flowing into the infinite ocean that is Tamari and our Natharu overseers. Today there is no excuse for sleep. Research should be our entertainment and family our business. Walk into the store of any successful soul trader in your community, look behind the counter and you'll see the wife, the uncle and the eldest son working there also. They know there's no one else to trust. When we can say the same, the world will revolve to a new season of order and growth. That's what the world revolution truly means, to turn onwards in harmony with natural law, since nature's law is the only law in effect, whether we acknowledge that fact or not. With right thought we perform right actions, which lead to the right consequences. Through repetition we build the right habits which become a part of our nature or personality. Our lifestyle soon becomes automatic. We see this as fact throughout our communities today in its opposite form. Some people just can't help themselves. They're quick to lose their temper, the first to start fighting, while others are desperate for attention and validation. Some of our brothers and sisters seem to have children for every month of the year with another one on the way. He can't keep it in his pants and she can't seem to keep her legs closed, yet both are surrounded by hungry, screaming mouths. Hungry for food, hungry for attention, hungry for affection. This is clearly automatic behavior. A form of madness that causes us to ignore the consequences of our actions when examples of those consequences are overabundantly apparent throughout our neighborhoods. Poverty is a lifestyle, ignorance is a lifestyle geared towards extinction. But when the Nagaru changes gears, increasing in velocity, he will one day reach the point of perpetual motion. Success breeds success, money attracts itself as like attracts like. As the old saying goes, what are you like? The answer? A black hole. You are melaninites. Unlike other darker races of people, you have what's called neuromelanin, sun heat genes. It's why your hair curls. Take any race with straight hair, put them near a fire and watch their hair frizz. Nagaru have that fire internally, it's called a soul, from the Latin sol, meaning solar. Your body, brain and organs are saturated in melanin, and through that melanin you absorb all electromagnetic frequencies within your awareness, not just from the sun itself. Let's be aware of Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, radio waves, television broadcasts, 4G, 5G and the symphony of subatomic energies that make up our universe. We are living in a field of information and vibration ready to quicken and invigorate our sluggish, slew-footed demeanor. If only we'd feed through simple awareness, our biological makeup will do the rest. Even birds have to learn to fly, but we've never spread our wings. This quickening will cause us to vibrate beyond the physical. As Baba Yaa-Nun taught us, there are beings who feed off the very atmosphere itself, that's their sustenance. We too can feed off this atmosphere of lights, music and technology. Our melanin creates a vortex that absorbs the energy the modern world gives off, and through meditation we can reach higher, more refined sources of power, such as the sekam or prana as the Hindus call it, that pervades throughout the omniverse. Awareness, thought, Tahuti is the key that will unlock the higher realms of existence. Melanin is also the reason we become addicted quicker and longer to negative foods, substances and behaviors than other races, and they know this. Look around your neighborhood at all the fast food restaurants, liquor stores, gun shops and churches. Blacks believe in Jesus like no other people. Going to church is electrifying. The dress, the music, the dance, the drama brings that dead book to life, through you. You are the life of the party, you are the one who brings soul to the people of the setting sun, the people of the West from the land of the living dead. They are melanin deficient and unable to absorb enough energy to ignite their solar plexus, so as Dracula, master of the living dead, they vamp down on you, draining you of your energy, confidence, belief in self and kind, keeping you in a depressed, low energy, low vibratory way of life that ties you to the flesh. In order to become an energy being you have to generate or absorb enough energy to vibrate on higher frequencies. We can't get there with their culture, their language, their way of thinking, they just don't have the conceptual knowledge to give you. You only hear these types of thoughts and ideas from Baba Yaa-Nun. This is the level of awareness that is our Tamarayan heritage by right of our descendancy. It's why the Euro-American and Berber cockroach spend billions digging up and refurbishing our ancient cities and temples. They are looking for that spark, that insight, that formula that will raise them to the next level of thinking called reasoning. Something they talk about often but never had. They only have one reason in their arsenal: infestation. It's what they were created for. Their overlords instructed them to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it, and dominate. Now look around you, have they not followed their programming? Their job is to keep you slow. You can easily outpace them by stepping out of his dimension and doing what Melaninites do naturally, rise above.